New plan for climate change affects what you can eat. Can you believe this? This is what the WEF wants, and they're going to track us. Now, the health crisis and social platforms mixed together had millions upon millions of people doing challenges globally. Y'all remember that? Some look like fun while others just look absolutely stupid. It looked as if people just wanted to kind of do these things and add challenge at the end of it just to kind of get more likes, views, and traction. Now, something very similar is happening in New York City as they're introducing this plant-powered carbon challenge. Yes, it is exactly what you guys are thinking of. If what you're thinking of is the tracking of our meat consumption, then yeah, you're right. Does this sound like a fun challenge to you? Now you might think, well, I'll eat what I want to eat and I'm not going to provide any information about what I cook at home because that's just my own personal information. And yes, you are right. It's your space. They have no right to confirm what the heck you're eating, how you cook it. But what if we get to a point where we're not even in charge of what we put on our plate? Isn't that terrifying? Now, I don't want to scare anybody, but I do want to urge you to watch until the end so that I can provide you with all the information that I found regarding how this could be a part of their plan to move us completely away from eating meat altogether. So let's not waste any more time. Let's get right to the facts. Also, by the way, if you own a home, make sure your home is protected. Get your free home warranty quote. There's a link in the description down below. Only takes a few seconds. Never be caught off guard again by another very expensive home repair again. Get your free home warranty quote, link down below. So here's an honest question that I want you guys to answer as truthfully as you can. Which of the two do you think has more carbon emissions in New York City? Transportation or food? Now, if you answer transportation, then you will be right, but only by a small percentage. That is if we're listening to Mayor Eric Adams.
New York City is leading the world when it comes to combating climate change because we're using every option on the menu. And in some cases, we're going to change the menu. That is how you lead. We are leading the world and ensuring we combat climate change. And if we're going to accomplish this goal, it must be accomplished by being honest. You cannot leave the third leading cause of climate change unacknowledged. And when you do a comparison, the numbers that food contributes compared to transportation, they are extremely close. It's almost a dead even. So we can't talk about cars, we can't talk about buildings, if we're not talking about the food that also contribute to this crisis. Today, we are saying to New Yorkers who are serious about this charge of cleaning up our environment, we now have a new focus that is also must include food. Thanks all who have been part of this important research and the ability to move us forward to address the climate issues in our city and the health issues that comes with it.
Okay then, but what does this entail? A deeper look shows that they want to track what you're eating. Basically, you're going to track your own carbon footprint with food voluntarily and provide them with the data. So here's what it says on the site itself. Quote, the NYC Plant-Powered Carbon Challenge is a voluntary challenge with leaders in private, institutional, and nonprofit sectors to commit to decarbonizing food purchases 25% by 2030. To help get you there, the Mayor's Office of Food Policy, the MOFP, in partnership with Cool Food and Greener by Default, will provide educational resources to help you measure the carbon footprint of your existing procurement practices, develop a plan for meeting the carbon reduction target, and create more healthy, delicious, plant-based meals. End quote. It's not enough that cars have to transition to electric. It's not enough that they want to take your gas stoves out of your houses, but now you can't eat meat either. And wait, did they just say that the mayor's office was going to provide us with resources for healthy, delicious, plant-based meals? You mean something like this? And yes, I understand how this diet may be applicable for some people, although I'm not sure if everyone will benefit from just eating plant-based meals. But if you ask the World Economic Forum, this is a genius plan. So here's Siemens chairman Jim Hageman talking about it earlier this year in Davos.
It's a very meat. Now the math would say, well, you need to stop eating meat 11 years to compensate for a flight to Thailand. Yes, but if 1 billion people stop eating meat, I tell you it has a big impact. Not only does it have a big impact on the current food system, but it will also inspire innovation of food systems. And I predict that we will have proteins not coming from meat in the future. They will probably taste even better. So why are we trying to mimic meat if we can have a better taste? They will be zero carbon and much healthier than the kind of food that we eat today. That is a mission that we need to get on. I can inspire you to maybe look at an organization called EAT, easy to remember, EAT, who have all the facts on this and who have the policies necessary, the innovations necessary, and the scale necessary in order to make food systems sustainable and healthy.
Now, he mentioned this group called EAT. What are they about? Well, they want a complete shift by 2050. And when I say a shift, I mean they want to move us from eating meat to primarily and mostly exclusively plant-based food. And just to really drive the point home here, here's what we can find with the World Economic Forum when it comes to eating meat. Note that this was from November of last year. It says right here, quote, "Eating lots of meat is bad for the environment, but we don't know enough about how consumption is changing," end quote. So what do you guys make of all this? Now, this isn't me saying that vegans or vegetarians are wrong about their lifestyle. That's their business. But I guess it's more of a question as to why meat eaters, or why are people even being labeled meat eaters, why they're being focused on when they've been eating meat their entire lives. Shouldn't our diets also be our choice? But, and here's just me thinking out loud, what if we're not given a choice in the future? Now, I know that New York City is asking for volunteers to take part in this challenge, but what happens when they have the right to track our carbon emissions through food? Does that mean if we have one too many steaks or one too many hamburgers that we would have to cut back for a month or so? I mean, if they bring out CBDC, they can track exactly what you're purchasing anyway, so they could literally technically track your carbon footprint and exactly what you're eating based on your purchases. The language is so vague because it can lead anyone to think that this can give them the right to control, that's right guys, I use the C word, for them to control exactly what we eat or limit what we can buy just because they can justify it with their fight against climate change. Whether you believe it or not, now this next part, it's drawn more to tinfoil talk, so take it with a grain of salt. Have you ever noticed how diseases within livestock have been growing through the last year to this year? November 22, Netherlands culled almost 30,000 chickens on a farm that they detected a highly infectious strain of bird flu on. And this one's gonna blow your mind. Since October of 2021, 6 million birds have already been culled in the country due to a new variant of the disease being detected. Now, these terms are bringing back some really bad memories, aren't they? And again, in Netherlands this year, their government decided to cull cattle as they found one cow carcass with, and I'm not even going to try to pronounce that, but it's called BSE, something that could affect the meat if ingested by humans, or so we're told. And just this May, South Korea is set to cull cattle after an outbreak of foot and mouth disease. So what happens when more of these cullings happen? Now, I understand that there are diseases out there that can affect us with these livestock, and here's a conspiracy theory in all of this, right? Why is it happening so much more nowadays? And lastly, I just want to remind you guys that since October 2021 to December of last year, more than 53 million birds have either been killed by avian flu or have been outright just culled right here in our country. One professor even said that the industry may not be sustainable if it needs to have millions culled yearly. So there you guys have it. Are they just trying to eliminate all chickens, hens, and egg-producing, chicken-producing birds out there? But then you got to ask, what is sustainable? Now, if we ask them, then they would probably answer that plants should be our go-to meal. What do you guys think? Is this too far-fetched, or does it actually make sense? It almost feels like they're trying to take us out very systemically. You know what doesn't make sense? The fact that our government officials seem to be ignoring the fact that the cost of living is just plain out astronomical nowadays. Soon enough, we might not even be able to afford meat, together with many of the other necessities that we need to buy. We're seeing credit card bills skyrocket, and it's only a matter of time until many of us hit our financial breaking points. Now, before we even remotely get there, why don't we do something about it? Now, if you guys want to hit me up, ask me questions, feel free to drop me some comments down below. You guys should see some videos right here above my head to the left and to the right. Go ahead and click those videos and check them out. But I want you to know that side hustles and small businesses are a great way for creating multiple streams of income. There's also something new every single day with the real estate market and the stock market. It really just depends on how you pick your position. Now, if you really want to get back to financial freedom, feel free to drop me a comment down below. But before I go, please don't forget to drop a like, share this video, and subscribe for your daily dose of the truth. Appreciate you guys watching, and I'll catch you on the next one.